Now, I should note that there is a storyline campaign going on for the game. Not top of the scoreboard, but once again, top of RP. Why? I don't fucking know. They just, pin medals to my chest. I don't even care anymore. The medals mean nothing. They don't go anywhere. They're never stored. I don't actually think... They are stored somewhere, actually. Where are they stored? Achievements. Right. Are they listed here? Not after 100. So... they're not meant for... They don't mean anything. No I in team. I'm gonna get these, and it's gonna be kind of funny when I do, because look at all this money I have. I don't need it. All this other shit. Yeah, this stuff. Yeah. Bleh. I may get it. I may not. They don't really seem like they, well, mean anything to me. The tank unlocking does the yeah. I'm not gonna ever get these because nobody is playing PvE or PvP, and I will never actually get them. These will go undone. These will also go never-ending conflict. The conflict has ended long ago. It's kind of funny. Oh, Jesus. But, well, as for everything else... Oh, legacy achievement. Self-propelled gun destroyer. You can't get it. You can't get that anymore. Self-propelled gun command. You see, you can't play artillery in PvP anymore. So that was probably the least fucking exciting thing they could have done with fucking artillery. They just sequestered them in PvP. Like PvE. They only play in PvE, and really, they're not all that fun to play in PvE anyway. So I would have liked them to make I would have liked to have made them like Doom cannons, as they were, just gigantic, high explosive hurling troll guns. I would have liked that. They decided not to do that for some reason. I don't know why, but it was really fucking boring that they decided, oh, we're just going to take this entire class and we're going to shove it into PvE where no one's going to fucking play it. What a fucking shame. That seems like the best option, though, doesn't it? No, it wasn't. They could have done. Honestly, I would have accepted, even if they were kind of annoying to fight against. I would have accepted the high explosive glass cannons. But oh well, I'm not a game designer. I never will be. I can just sit here and make jokes on the internet. But see, there they are. I had to wait for them a little bit. They come in. There's plenty of people up here. Rather, an acceptable amount of people up here. There's probably less than 1,000. There's guaranteed less than 1,000 people playing on the American server at any one time. Guaranteed. I have no idea how many people in total are playing the game, but my estimates put it at somewhere around 500 or less. Which is absolutely appalling, but the game still functions. And so we get to continue on driving through this very strange, serene graveyard. Just shooting at things that come by, shooting at the ghosts that wish to kill us. However, they cannot. They only sort of slightly aggravated spirits. And just a casual stroll. They could kill us if we let them, but we won't let them. And surely by that will, they will never win. But we get to vanquish foes again and again and again, over and over again, upon this eternal battlefield, for the sake of our own enjoyment. Isn't this quite fun? Rather, most people would call the game boring, but just the realization that, well, if we manufacture an enemy for us all to fight, we don't have to fight each other. We have these entities, these non-existent entities, that we kill over and over again. Their only existence is to fight. And so we kill them. And when we kill them, we feel better. Because we can't do this in real life, because it is not proper. I say, in lieu of any other way to curtail man's murderous ways against man, directing that against something that does not matter is probably the best option. And so maybe that's why video games are so popular. But then again, most people that attempt to analyze the philosophical meaning behind people playing video games are usually wrong. Because most people do not think about this hard. But I suppose what people are attempting to figure out by thinking incredibly fucking hard about things that people do not think incredibly hard about is to find the underlying unconscious reason behind it. But however, unfortunately, while this may be valuable in some respects, most of the time, I suppose, it's going to sound like someone trying to preach to you that xylophone music is the pinnacle of all music because of some underlying conscious thing. Some underlying consciousness thing. That, as children, we all banged upon xylophones. So this is obviously the most enjoyable music a toddler could have, or a man could have, in the world. These nice little tones. See what happens when you think too hard? You start to come up with really weird, strange things. Sometimes they make you laugh, other times they just kind of mystify people. But I suppose that's always why that's going to sound weird to people who play video games when people seek to analyze us, because we aren't really seeking to be analyzed or scrutinized. We come here for our own enjoyment and then we leave. It's sort of like, I don't know, like being scrutinized while you're masturbating. Nobody really wants that. Unless it's going to lead to something else. But under most circumstances, it just makes you feel weird. So, no one ever wants to have that happen. No one ever wants to be scrutinized, and any information that you can glean from scrutinizing someone in this manner really, well, is kind of outshined by the fact that, well, look at what you were doing. These are private things. Which is, again, why I don't necessarily think that this is... Well, people are going to latch on to these videos. I don't necessarily believe so. However, again, trying. And, like I said, it would be funny if I wound up the steward of this game. Even though it is hopeless, and I say, do not put money into this game. I will not be putting money into this game because I have no reason to put any money into this game. Though, the Challenger is quite fun. If you can make it up here without spending money, you're probably gonna be pretty okay. But then again, honestly, playing most of the tanks in the British main battle tank line will get you through here. Because all of them are robust, and all of them are damn near unkillable for their teams. Well, for their tiers, I should say. But, well, it would be funny if I wound up a steward of this game, because no one else wants to be one. Or rather, there are people out there who do work, and I respect them for what they do. Be they shills or not, I can't actually really tell, and therefore I won't scrutinize them for it. But, quite honestly, that would be the funny thing, isn't it? I'm always trying over and over again to sort of find myself playing a game that I actually enjoy, and then to seat myself as a sort of ever-present personality towards that game. To be a voice in the room that everyone hears, listens to, well, do as you may in that regard, but you can hear me when I'm talking. Like, this is Fonto's game. This is what, you know, people come here and people see me playing this game and they think that this is my game. However, so far, I have really yet to find that game where I stand alone, or rather stand at the top, at the tiptoe, at the, you know, at the highest rung of personalities attached to the game. And if I were to become one for Armored Warfare, somewhat disappointingly, it would be because that no one else wants to be in that position. Because there's nobody else fucking here. It is a sad fate, but, well, it's what I wanted, I suppose. If it comes, that'd be funny as hell, but honestly, as I look towards my future and try to find some sort of note of reassurance, I find that almost never am I going to actually accomplish the exact things that I wanted to. And the things that I will accomplish that will make my life better kind of just come out of fucking nowhere. I mean, I can plan for some of them, and I'm getting slightly better at planning them, but for the majority of my life right now, most of the good things just kind of happened. And I'm just sort of able to make use of them. As with most of the bad things. I wouldn't say they're necessary, but I did make the best use of them that I could. And that's why I'm here right now. Trying to make a living being a YouTube star. Trying to be this gallant knight that people look up to, and failing at it miserably. Now, you see, it is quite quaint that the first book that I bought to fill up a library is Don Quixote, don't you think? Quite accurate. It's a good book, too. I'm only about maybe a third the way through it, though. Wow, Leopard 2AX, your armor is just... absolute... Look at this. Look. Those side skirts do nothing! Good lord! Good thing I didn't sign up with Wolfie. That's just embarrassing. Look at those giant, thick, meaty side plates. They do fucking nothing against my rounds. The Abrams has that bullshit, pleek/ERA bullshit that look like roofing tiles. And that actually absorbs my APDS rounds. Leopard? It has solid slabs of steel that are like, probably like half an inch, like half a foot thick by that length. They don't actually do anything. Rather, they don't stop my shells. They don't, like, cause my shells to lose penetration, to normalize at a weird angle and then bounce off the hull. They don't do anything at all. They just kind of eat the shell. That's rather depressing, but, well, I got the Challenger because, as was said, this tank is designed to be the spearhead of all tanks. Obsidian said this. And this is where you started to see the arbitrary stuff with the gameplay design. Whereas, for example, the Armata does the most damage. Russian main battle tanks do the most damage because that is their trait that they have been given by the developers. Because Challenger, most hit points, most armor. No longer a realistic interpretation of the machine, just sort of a caricature. Ow. And as it is a caricature, it doesn't have to play by reality's rules. So I can, in fact, be the most robust thing in the world. Excuse me, reloading. Sorry. Hold on. One moment. There it is. And there they go. I only have 2 rounds left, and there should be 1 enemy remaining somewhere on the map. I'm going to suspect he's over here somewhere. Or perhaps back there. I'm gonna have to guess. Let's guess this way. Oh! I was wrong. But I will check anyway, just in case there's anything hiding up here. Nope. Oh well. I am not going to make it, but I'm trying, damn it. I have the will to hold down the W key. It was unnecessary, but I'm here anyway. Also, not to insult the people who play Armored Warfare, however, why I continue to do so well and top scoreboards, I think it's down to there aren't that many competent players left playing the game. Not to insult you, but I think it's a fact of life by now. Which is not to say that I'm amazing by any means, that I am good at this game, that I get all these awards because I am super good, even though, as you see, yeah, that's quite a large bump over my teammates. It is because I know the incredibly basic form of excelling at this game, which is to hold down mouse 1 and nearly always have something to shoot at that will cause damage. That is the way you get ahead of that's how you get ahead of the damage game, and you stay ahead of the damage game, by continuously doing damage. And setting yourself up so that you fire a constant stream of ammunition that will continuously do damage, and make sure your lead is, well, maintained and, well, expanded as you also take damage away from your teammates. As you are being so efficient at this, in order to keep damage, you must shoot. By this meaning, if you are going to keep this up indefinitely for the entire game, you must shoot every single target that comes out into the open, meaning that you will shoot every single enemy, meaning that you will steal damage from every single teammate that you have. This is, well, the only way of playing PvE, really. If you wanted to do well PvE, you just have to find a situation where you don't stop shooting. And I find it funny that the Challenger 2 is able to get into situations where it doesn't have to stop shooting, because it could stand literally out in the open in front of all of the enemies and not care, because it can't fucking die. I like this. This is the kind of strength that I would like. I'd like to assail my enemy because it is incredibly hard for my enemy to kill me. So I use that to an advantage, to use that armor to my advantage to aggress the enemy as I see fit, to control the flow of the battle, because I am the battle. However, I will never get that in any other game. Because nobody, because it would seem that the majority, the stereotype of what people are after in other video games is not me. It's not what I like. What do people like? They like they like going fast, and they like being made of paper. That's what they like, because they like Twitch, because they think that if you're going as fast as you can and doing the actions as fast as you possibly can, like all of the actions at once, this is more entertaining. This is, I guess in some ways, more skill-based, more, I suppose, respectable? Something of that regard? And this is why you have Twitch shooters. Which I don't necessarily hate, however, that's not how I relax. And as I said before, I think that being the pinnacle of gameplay is utter bullshit. So as I am sitting here playing this game, well, I'm having a grand old time. I'm perfectly fine. I can keep going. The only problem is I might run out of things to talk about, and then I actually have to cut, because then I'm just going to be sitting here playing the Challenger over and over again, and you'll just have occasionally, occasional sounds of me sniffing, and maybe chuckling randomly. Also breathing. And I don't know, maybe someone will knock on my door and wondering where the hell I was. See, that's not good. Perhaps I should start streaming Armored Warfare, because, well, at least with streaming, I could at least have music on. And then in that case, you could also hear me singing, and also be exposed to my musical collection. That would be fun. But then again, I'm playing directly into the only thing left for me to do in this game, which is actually quite funny, don't you think? There aren't too many people playing this game, and the people that we have right now do not have any, well, I've never fucking heard of them, so, I'm not insulting them, I'm just saying that I've never actually heard of them, nor do I care to look them up. Again, sorry. It's just how, well, my perception of the game currently is, and probably the perception of most people as on the American server, almost no one is playing the fucking game. It would seem that if I were to start streaming, and if I was able to find some success with this right now, maybe a little bit more action-y, because I'd be able to talk to people and make jokes, but if I was having success with this right now as it was as a format, and also added to throw in my own music, because, well, at least on Twitch, I'm not going to get copyrighted, so I continue to make my money, and also be able to do as I please, which is not something I can do right now unless I just throw on royalty-free music, of which right now I do not have a lot, nor do I care to listen to most of it. Because, well, if it's royalty-free, obviously, it sucks. Unless it's a Sousa March. Then you're okay. However, I only have like 7 of those, so that's not really gonna work. I go through musical odysseys, to be honest. I have a very large collection. Honestly, I've spent most of my years just kind of dumping it into a Windows Media Player and just hitting, well, play random for every audio file on my hard drive. So, basically, I just kind of go with the flow there. Though, I think if I was going to do a stream, I would prepare a playlist of some regard. Though, this would seem like something I could stream. Though, yet again, fucking hilariously, it's a game that I abandoned, and a game that doesn't really offer too much hope. And I suppose I know that, I see that, I understand it, but I suppose the question is that, well, the question I pose to you, my humble audience, is that, does that really matter? Does it really, these recollections, well, these observations, be they true, or not, or effectively true, be there not a single ounce of hope for the future of this game as it is standing, and should it stand as it is for all time and never improve? Is that something that stops you from viewing my content that I make on it? Is that something that you can look past? I put the question to you guys, because, well, I can't answer that on my own. And honestly, most of the time, whenever I try to answer those questions, I'm usually fucking wrong. So, the only thing I could really do is do things, and then see. Oh, don't fall! I only took like 30 hit points worth of damage, though. Oh no. Actually, 76 hit points. Out of 3,700. Oh no, what a crippling loss. How will the suspension ever fucking stand that kind of impact? Though, honestly, something I'd like to point out is, I really like the blue winter camouflage, especially with the white, with the white numbers on the side. I like this. I wish I could make this how my tank looks in every environment. However, unfortunately, I can't. Which saddens me greatly. But I suppose if I wanted that kind of change, I suppose I have to be, I have to become the steward of the video game, and then my.com will let me make my own premium tanks. Power fantasies and conceited dreams. Oh well, everyone has them. But, let's see. We're cleaning up shop pretty okay here. Am I doing the most? No, I've been kind of fucking around, so I haven't done the most damage. I've been kind of just driving around. Oh well. I suppose I can do with one loss of the damage crown. Oh, what a shame. I drove around the map to go shoot at something else rather than actually driving directly into the fray, like I am supposed to as the challenger. Let's see if there are any tanks hidden over here. Well, there's some down there. I believe these are the last tanks we're actually going to fight. Yep, that's it. It's over. Oh, well. It's like they're magneted into the ground. It's like as soon as they're shot, they fly into the ground at a higher velocity. And also no wreckage. Oh, Obsidian, your unfinished work is being continuously shown off over and over again. I wonder what those guys are doing right now. I wonder how they feel about this. I'd like to know, honestly. 21,000 damage. It was the Armada again. Oh well, what a shame. Let the Armada win. Let him have a day in the sun as I just sort of drive around doing whatever. See, that's the thing. I'm perfectly fine and serene as long as I get mine first. Not necessarily. I don't need to get mine immediately above everyone else. I'm not that, well, jealous. Or rather, I'm not that, conceited internally, even though I do want what I want to make myself happy, which is human, I suppose. But even then, your moralism and your codes of chivalry would have you believe that even wanting that is bad. Which is what I believed for a long time, which is not the best way to go about living. Just to be short about that. But as long as I get what I have, as long as I am satisfied, you could do whatever the fuck you want. It's like, what do I have? I have a Challenger. I do lots of damage. I get lots of useless money. But I destroy things. And they explode. I win. I feel invulnerable. And I feel better about myself. And so, when I feel better about myself, everybody could just do whatever the hell they want. As long as you're not actually insulting me and trying to rob me of that. But, well, depending on how secure and satisfied I am, is dependent upon how negatively I will react to that. Rather, how negatively I will react to that unless it is extreme. Because when I don't care, surprisingly, I don't care. But I suppose that's basically everyone in real life. But I suppose it is a good quality. If I can speak of myself like that. That when I am satisfied, when I have my meal, when I have my, my bread and cheese, I am, happy and free. Rather, just sort of happy and contented. Then I don't really complain. I don't really go off and do anything unnecessarily damning towards other people just because I don't, because I already have what I want. And I'm very patient about getting that. I'll wait for fucking years. I played World of Tanks for 6 years and waited to get what I wanted, and eventually got more and more salty about the entire thing by the end. But I waited. Never got it. But, well, it stands to mention, while going through the effort, I built up a considerable amount of patience. So, whereas if a new game in this vein were to come out, I would understand. I would go into it and I would look for the signs of this game being new and understand it, and then proceed to not care. I can trumpet new games, or champion new games. But, well, that's all for the future, I suppose. But, well, I suppose even when I am contented, I do not sit and do absolutely nothing. When I have that sort of security, I build myself up to go do other things, mainly because of I suppose, a want to entertain. And even then, even if I were to expand that further, a want to make people like me, which is narcissistic. However, that is the want to entertain, because if you did not want to entertain, then if you didn't want people to like you, then you wouldn't want to entertain. If you didn't want to entertain, you wouldn't care what people thought. You wouldn't make anything. Though, well, as David Bowie said, to be an artist is to be, in some ways, deranged. Because his rationale for the entire thing was that a man should be happy just getting what he needs to survive. He should, he has enough money in his wallet to buy food for him and his family. He has a family, he has a house, has a dog, lawn, sends his kids to school. He should be happy with just that. Artists, however, are not happy with that. They always seek to go to some really manic extreme to express themselves. And it's not entirely wrong, it's just completely out of the norm. And evidently not everyone has that side of them. You have to want it. And for me, I suppose I do have it. It's just that I'm kind of shackled with a lot of personal baggage that keeps me from actually doing it properly or succeeding. Though, well, I do manage to entertain, just not in the capacity that I want. And as I said, my dreams are to create anime. So, well, there's the entertainment. If I should make it up there with a good enough story, and by God, I'm not going on stage unless I have a good enough fucking story, you can be assured of that. Even if I magically make enough money and cannot actually write a good fucking story, I'm not going to make the damn anime. Or at least I will ask for help. Lots of it. Though I suppose it all comes down to, are the things that I entertain me going to entertain everyone? Which, factually, is not true, because not everyone likes all of the same things. However, will it entertain so many people that that does not matter? That is the true question. We shall see. It may take me, if I ever get up there, years. However, well, of things to work for, well, we all need a grander purpose that seems above us, because if it was easily achievable, it wouldn't necessarily be a dream, would it? What is going on behind my tank? What is this? I'm being followed by a radioactive wave. Hey. XMA3. You see this? You got this on your scope. It's moving around, too. What the fuck? Oh, it's gone now. Must be something to do with the shadows from the cooling towers. Weird. Okay. Now, you see, they made the AI come out in these big bowls like this when they released Balance 2.0, and honestly, at first I thought this was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life, because the AI behaved incredibly differently before this. But now that I see this, it's actually kind of lively and entertaining. Because, you know, they advance. That's the one thing that doesn't happen when you're playing against players. They don't fucking advance. What do they do in most circumstances? Nice disconnected barrel you got there, Bradley. In most competitive situations, what happens? People camp. World of Tanks competitive is a fucking shit show, to be honest. Rather, the first rounds of it. I'm not exactly sure what it is right now. They could have developed into something a little bit more interesting. There are a lot of cases, like, you know, there are evidently formats where they force one team to actually attack something, which, you know, gets them off their asses. But, like, the norm of competitive play is mostly camping, with autoloaders and whatnot. It's fucking boring. Or I find it incredibly boring. And most of the, you know, well, in all honest to God, the entire competitive scene is incredibly artificial. It's kind of just propped up by wargaming to do whatever. It's like to make it seem like they have this competitive arena thing that is world-renowned and whatnot, to make people buy into that because popularity begets popularity. And if you fake it well enough, well, then you might beget popularity from your false popularity. Though, not to say that World of Tanks isn't popular, it's just that, well, I don't like the fucking game anymore. And honestly, I see beyond the scope of it that most mainstream people have no fucking idea what World of Tanks is. So, it's still an incredibly niche title, to be honest. So, you know, even if I hate it and say, you know, even if I hate it and wish it destroyed because it doesn't appeal to me, I could take some solace in the fact that not everybody is a tank autist. So that means the bad games that, you know, suck in tank autists are not actually going to ruin well, I use ruin in an incredibly light fashion. Ruin the perception of tank autistic games. Because everyone already thinks they're autistic fucking things that don't actually matter. I'm sorry, Yukari. I really am. But it's the truth. However, fortunately, because the pool for these players is so small, because the player bases for these games are usually so small, as was said, the greater the share of honor. Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. This isn't exactly St. Crispin's Day, but, well, you get my point. Oh well. Well, he's dead. However, unfortunately, I don't think there's much honor to be shared here with Armored Warfare as it is, though, honestly, it's a homey game right now. It doesn't mean anything, though, that's the problem. I mean, it means a modicum. It's sort of like, because it's something that I once enjoyed, that I can't really get close to with anything live. I'm starting to sound like a fucking necrophiliac, aren't I? Because it is something that was dear to me, or rather important to me, that I can no longer get anywhere near, I cherish the corpse. This is where my morose attitude might be going a little bit too far. But I enjoy the, I enjoy the very, very edgy sort of atmosphere. Though, honestly, when I was younger, I really hesitantly acted towards it and avoided it most of the time. Because honestly, I was a fat kid most of my life. I had enough fucking problems being made fun of. I didn't also need to be the emo kid. So I hid. Now I don't give a shit. Because I realized, well, I was the emo kid. Inside. Crawling underneath my skin. And largely it doesn't fucking matter. Because, well, there were enough people in the same sort of situation. They deal with it all sorts of ways. Honestly, being the dramatic emo kid is probably one of the least strange ways I could have gone about it. It's normal, it's casual. But, well, there's an air about it that I like.